Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's our second part of our two-part Wrestlemania special of the Getting Over podcast. Same people as last time, myself, Mr. Woodmansey, Paul Williams, Matthew Moore, and we're diving into the second part of the two-night show that is this year's Wrestlemania. If you're watching us on YouTube, do subscribe and then share with a friend. If you're not watching us on YouTube, jump over there and check us out. Even though we're in the lockdown, we're still on the video, so do check us out over there. So here we go. This is CookieCast, Getting Over Wrestlemania Part 2. Go.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome along. This is part 2, part 2, if you will, of Getting Over 15 on CookieCast. Second half of our WrestleMania 36 special, again with a different setup. If you've not listened to the first part, what are you doing? Stop, go back, sort yourself out. So yeah, we've had a bit of a refresh. We've had a bit of a t-shirt change. Definitely not due to spilling stuff down my top. And second half of the WrestleMania card to come. But first, we alluded to it in the first half. We'll get to it in the second half. It's time for some more Ready to Grumble people. Mr. Moore, he's like chomping at the bit in his tiny little box.
I want loads.
Do we?
I think.
Do we give? I was going to say, do we give you the 30 seconds for your one now, and then do your other one at the end, so you can get caught back up, or do you just want a full minute to absolutely unload?
I'll take the full minute to completely unload, and you guys can join in.
Right, that's a sentence I never thought I would hear on this podcast, but there we go.
Really?
Right, okay.
I've been literally waiting for it.
That video's on the dark web somewhere.
Right, Mr. Moore, are you ready?
Yeah.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I think it's time for people to draw a line under there. Vince McMahon doesn't like this person anymore. He's decided that they're not worth kind of thing. So we had the rumours about Shayna Baszler. She's not worth it. You know, it's been, he's out on, Finn Balor. He's out on this superstar. He's out on this superstar. He doesn't like this person from NXT. He doesn't think they'll work on the main roster. Can we just put the Vince McMahon is a wrestling genius or a wrestling promoter genius thing to bed now? In the 80s, fine. In the 90s, he got lucky that two of the kind of best promo wrestlers ever came through his door, and at the same time, and kind of caught lightning in a bottle with everybody else that came through with it, and just realised that he's out of touch now. Hand it over to somebody else. What? 5 seconds. And then I'll open it out to the rest of you guys. What's the best thing in Raw? Paul Heyman.
Done. He's done. Well, safe to say Matt's sitting on the fence with his opinions tonight. So, well, does anyone want to take the mantle next? Anyone want to take the next Grumble? Maybe back from Matt's end, or maybe some. Paul, you want to go next?
I've not got anything else, to be honest with you. I've kind of fallen out of love with the wrestling business a little bit, to be honest with you. It's not gripping me as it once was. So,
Should that not be your grumble then?
I think it pretty much was, to be honest with you.
So there we have it. Paul is officially spent. Is the line I'm getting from that. Andy, have you got anything you want to drop into this one?
I mean, Matt's raised a good point. You know, Vince. It's been a long time of one foot out the door. Obviously, we've now got the XFL. This works on the principle that this is a normal day where everything's working. The wrestling's still going, and the XFL was still running and stuff like that. It's been far too long that he should have handed it over, and every sort of time or suggestion that it might have been happening, it hasn't. You know, and Triple H has just sort of been coming up and up and up, further and further and further. It sort of looked like that was going to be, he was going to hand it over to Stephanie and Triple H, and it's never happened. The XFL thing was a bit like, maybe he'll start moving away towards, you know, a different franchise. Still not.
Well, weirdly, on the back of what you just said as well, there was recently the rumours that Triple H has actually had a demotion, and it tied in with the same day that it was the first SmackDown without the crowd at the PC. And Triple H did everything that night, from introducing the show to being on commentary all night with Michael Cole, to even taking over a camera at one point and doing a bit of camera work. But I quite like the fact that he alluded to what had happened by dropping into the conversation with Michael Cole. Well, for a guy who's just been demoted, I'm pretty much the busiest man there's ever been. So it was quite funny that he even acknowledged that. But I think I completely agree with. I can't really add to anything that you guys have said about that. Slightly different vein, because obviously it's Vince, as I say on it. But if someone wants to give me 30 seconds, I'll quite happily drop mine, and then we'll get back into the WrestleMania card. So anyone got a stopwatch there?
Yeah.
Okay. Count me in.
Go.
Right. Why is WrestleMania going to be collectively included in the pre-show, considering that they have nobody really, they can't have everybody in the building and all the rest of it? Why does it need to be 9 hours long? They don't need Black and Lashley with no build. They don't need Elias and Corbin. They don't need Otis and Ziggler. Why is Goldberg there? And the Raw Tag Team title match, one of them got injured and they've just chucked a random partner in who's not even on Raw or SmackDown. What is going on? I'm pretty sure that's me. That's my grumble this time. I'm not going to mention that again. That's the rules from before. Just out. Done. Right. Okay. Shall we get back to it, gents? Night 2. Or part 2 even of our podcast. These matches again might not be on night 2. It's just the way that I've split the card when we were discussing things. And last time we started with a title match. This time we'll start with what probably should be an opener again. One night or the other. And we'll go with Elias versus everybody's favourite, particularly Paul Williams. Can I bring myself to call him King still? Let's go Baron Corbin. Not there. Sorry, that fell out. Paul, are you just going to pick Corbin because he's your favourite?
I don't know, really. This is like stereotypical like WWE booking for me, because they were pushing Elias for a long time. Then they just did nothing with him. Then he got injured. Then he came back, and they've still not done anything with him. Does anyone know whether he's supposed to be a good guy or a bad guy at this point? He's kind of just there. So
I think
it's weird. It's almost like they want to do something with him, but they don't know what.
Well, yeah, they obviously got the thing going with him with the what does WWE stand for? It's Walk with Elias, and they had the thing with the instrument match the other week, which was strangely entertaining. I presume that's a kind of a thought thing from Paul Heyman. But it kind of seems to, everything seems to kind of, all right, okay, then we're getting somewhere. No, we'll put that to one side. I know like a lot of it's been affected by the fact people can't travel and people aren't going here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, they seem to flip flop between him being a heel and going back to the face. And obviously Vince has got, there's no such things as face and heels nowadays. There is, you know. But yeah, I don't know. They don't seem to know what to do with him. But obviously Corbin is the heel in this match.
Yeah.
So, did you get a deciding vote about who's going to win that one, Paul?
I think there is. I know you all disagree to that, but I think there is something there with Cole. And I reckon that for better or worse, obviously Vince clearly sees something in him. So if he sees something in him, it doesn't really matter if anyone else doesn't see anything in him. He's going to go with it. That's basically how it works. Because, you know, it's Vince's ball, and if he don't want anyone else to play with it, he's just going to take it and go over it. So I reckon it'll be the start of a big year for Corbin. And I won't be surprised if by the end of the year he's got one of the two championships.
Okay, I'll put you down for Corbin. Andy?
If I'm honest, I'm struggling to care.
Fair enough.
It's one of those that when you sent through the lists of the matches so that we can have a look and stuff, and obviously that's the first match at the top of the second page, and it's like, really? And you want me? This is what we used to refer to as a throwaway match, with the from the NFL podcast.
It's the popcorn match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be in the middle of the night
Match.
where
It's the piss
people
match.
get up and
Get a beer,
walk and have a piss and all that kind of thing.
make a drink, make a sandwich, do something else, and like your grumble. You know, why do we need this? Is it not supposed to be entertaining? Is it not supposed to be entertainment? Is this not almost the opposite of that? Like, I'm just like, I mean, I'm not wearing any trousers, so I haven't got a coin to flip.
The joys of video. That's definitely another podcast.
Podcast After Dark. Elias. Elias. Just whatever.
Just to tie that in with something that you have mentioned there, let's not forget that this is the match that was created by the sports entertainment mastermind that is the recently debuted Rob Gronkowski. Look at Paul, he'd forgotten all about that. That's how impactful that was. Gronk, we haven't even mentioned him.
God.
We're into the second podcast, and he is the host of this year's Wrestlemania. On the basis it's too big for one night, don't forget. So he suggested this match, and then it happened. So surely he's got to be around somewhere. But again, why do we care? Like, why? I don't.
They couldn't have paired him with a superstar people care about less than Mojo. He is possibly more hated than Corbin.
It's his mate.
No.
Come on.
Not by me. I can't hate anybody more than I hate Corbin on it, but it means he's doing his job. Regardless of your feelings of Mojo, though, can somebody, for the love of God, just pronounce his surname correctly? It's Rawley. That's how it's spelled. It's not Raleigh. And this is me. You probably picked up I've got quite a strong Hull accent. If I'm telling you you're pronouncing something wrong, job's fucked, basically.
But
so yeah,
to be honest,
we have.
the The only good thing that came out of the Gronk thing was that it's pretty obvious that when he does become an in-ring performer, the first schedule that he's going to have is obviously when Mojo turns on him. And good, because if he's not his mate anymore, he might get sacked.
Fair enough.
Because he's shit. He's one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen.
It's one of them ones where
can actually do some stuff. Whereas Raw is just awful.
There's been no long-term planning again with him, because he was pulling that weird kind of broken glass, self-reflective character, and then it's like, shit, WrestleMania, Gronk's here, get hyped. Fuck off. So yeah, not happy with that. With regards to being back to the match, though, it pains me to say it, Corbin's going to win. Yeah. Matt, are you rounding us up with a Corbin?
Yeah. I can't believe we spent so long talking about this fucking match.
It's because...
What's that peeking out from underneath that WrestleMania shirt, Stu? Is it a Baron Corbin tattoo you've got?
If that ever happens, it really would be the end of days. Right, on to something that people might care about a little bit more. Something which they're billing as starting at WrestleMania 30, which I don't know if me and Paul have mentioned WrestleMania 30 on this podcast before, but we'll move on. John Cena versus The Fiend. Again, they're taking a shot because nobody's there in a Firefly Funhouse match. What the is that?
It's like, remember Funhouse with Pat Shaw?
Oh!
That's what it's going to be.
If there's a
kind of fucking go-kart buggies at some point.
We're going to find out that actually...
there, I don't really mind.
Abby the Witch has a dark-haired twins instead of the blonde twins from Funhouse. It'd be dark-haired puppet twins from Firefly Funhouse. I'm not sure, again, what that's going to... Oh, hello.
Oh, there he is.
Funhouse, it's a whole lot of fun. But there are no titles to be won. Well, not sure. Only the getting over title pay-per-view predictions title. That is the prize. Does anyone want to take first guess on this one? Oh, sorry, pick prediction, not guess.
I'll go. I'm going to go with The Fiend. It's fitting in with the narrative and all that kind of thing. If Cena wins and then fucks off to do some more films again, then what's the point? You know, you've buried one of the most popular things that you've got, and you know you laid out your reasons as to why you dropped the title to Goldberg and all that kind of thing, and then you just let Cena win, and well then, let's pack up and go home because there's no point. You know, that's it. You just ruined it. So if it's got to be The Fiend.
Andy?
Fiend.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it was on the last one I expressed serious concerns around this match more by the way that it came about. I hate that bullshit. No time for... I'm absolutely not going to be at WrestleMania. It's time for the young guys.
There's absolutely no way John Cena's at WrestleMania.
Absolutely no way. It's time for the young guys. It's not, I'm going to ride off into the sunset, and by that I'm going to turn round to be faced with my WrestleMania opponent. Cool. So, you know, issues with this match, but at the same time, it's The Fiend. It's... yeah. Hopefully he'll just send John Cena off on his way. But Fiend for me.
Cool. I cannot disagree. I think weirdly the narrative going into the match 6 years ago was much better than what they've had this time. I genuinely believe that this is probably one of the matches that has suffered with the build, with like the lack of the crowd, and they can't really do theatrics in a building that's got no atmosphere. So they can't pull the whole story of this was what started the downward spiral, blah blah blah, and then not have him like complete the circle. Just can't do it.
You say
So,
that they can't do any theatrics in an empty arena, but on AEW,
No,
they had Matt Hardy teleport from up on high to in the ring.
What I mean though is like you don't get the reaction. It's like
No.
okay, so just going back, just very quickly skipping back to Elias and Corbin. They did a thing this week where Elias was doing a concert to the capacity crowd, and Corbin knocked him off like a balcony. But they did it in such a way where it was shot so hokey that you could see that he fell onto a crash mat. They cut it, and then they had the camera down from the top, so you could just see him like on the floor. But they can do the theatrics, but without the reaction, it means shit all to me. Like look, if they'd have done that the bump that the Miz took last year against Shane off that rigging, if they'd have done that in an empty arena and they'd have shot it in the same way with the cut it, people have been shitting all over that. Whereas it's wrestling, it's supposed to be like live stunts, and if they're gonna start fucking about during the live match element of it, not for me. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Fiend's going to win. So everybody has gone with the Fiend, which is probably the least surprising thing you'll hear on this entire podcast. From the second half of the card, moving on to the match that I'm genuinely looking forward to, and I probably would have been looking forward to 9 years ago. Edge versus Orton, last man standing. This should be tasty. I'll again can't see anything other. Me personally wouldn't make it any other than an Edge win. But is this the curveball? You always get some weird result that then is corrected over the course of the following like 2 months or whatever. But if they've had the foresight to see that the breaking news that because of the virus and the pandemic that things might be coming to a bit of a standstill over in Florida, have they had the foresight to maybe give Edge the win now because they might not be able to do anything about it for a month's time?
Maybe.
I'm picking Edge. I'm just picking Edge. That's me. Straight off. Who's next?
Stick me down for Edge. At this point in time, with his return, I can't see him losing. It's one of those where I kind of agree with what you're saying about there's going to be a curveball, there's going to be a surprise, and if I'm honest, if there was a match to pick for me that it's going to appear in, when I looked through the list, I was like, Edge is definitely winning that one. However, so part of me thinks that this could be just weirdly Randy Orton ends up taking it for some reason. But I think it's too soon after Edge has come back. I think it's probably just a done deal, really. Edge.
Because I mean, he hasn't actually had like a proper match yet either, has he? Since he had the Rumble, he got canned the night after, a bit of to and froing eventually after, but not like I don't think there's been any real like physicality other than in flooring MVP when there was that whole sort of. No, so first official match back. I'm with you on that one. Shall we go to the world's biggest Randy Orton fan down there in the bottom? What is my bottom corner? Might not be on Andy's.
It is.
Mr. Matthew Moore.
And yeah, with the build up there, I am going to go with Randall.
Randall. Always pick Randy Orton.
I just think it's that kind of. There's always that FU match where either Vince or someone within there has gone, everybody wants Edge to win, and sometimes I just gotta let them know that I control it here, kind of thing. And on top of that, maybe they're thinking, and maybe I'm like looking too far in the future, they want that Edge win and that Edge pop with the crowd, because you can't tell me that they didn't sit there and go, oh shit, that Royal Rumble absolutely awesome. We want that pop again, kind of thing. So you kind of have the last man standing match, and everyone's like, oh man, Edge didn't win. Okay then, but then there'll be something else along the line. So I'm gonna go with Randy.
Every time that Randall gets mentioned, I was thinking of this guy.
Is that from Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime his name comes up, I'm like, ooh.
Paul, to close that one off.
So I'm with you two on this one. So it doesn't make much sense for Edge to lose, and it's a last man standing match. Therefore, it's no disqualification. The guy lives in Florida, so I'm thinking there's going to be some form of Christian interference in this one. Obviously, he's got history with both of them. It'll be a way to bring him back into the fold. So I reckon Edge will win, but with a little bit of help.
Yeah, I never even considered that. Probably a reasonable shout.
That was a good show.
So that brings us to the halfway point for this half of the card. So 3/4 of the way through our predictions. Onto the Raw Tag Team titles. I'll
choose second favourite.
Yeah! I have a feeling that I'm going to be making a coffee, opening a beer, making some food during this one. No offence, gents. But the Street Profits, the current Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the recently thrown together Angel Garza, Mr. Adidas Popper Trousers himself, and Austin Theory. Probably too early for Austin Theory to get any kind of championship for me. Can't see anything other than a retain. Considering that it was only announced this week, so within less than a week to go to WrestleMania, that Andrade miraculously has a rib injury, might be legit. Just seems a bit strange after his wellness policy violation of late. That maybe I'm putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5, but I'm not convinced. I can't see them giving the titles to a brand new team that have not even had one match together. Street Profits all the way for me.
I don't even know who this guy is.
Austin Theory?
Yeah.
He was Evolve champion. He's been on some of the NXT stuff of late as well. But when they did that crossover, and they made that whole fuss about showing an Evolve event on the network.
Yeah.
Been a big part of that. Decent for sure. Just say I reckon half the sort of Joe public that'll be tuning in might not know who he is. So it's a good way to get his name out, but I can't see him winning. But he's that type of guy that will make Street Profits look like an absolute $1 million, which is good for him. Downside for everybody that really doesn't like the Street Profits. So yeah, no Street Profits. Anybody disagree?
Nope.
No.
Right, stick it all down in clean sweep there.
Have you seen that sketchy spot though from Raw this week?
Oh yes, I have.
That's nasty, that one. I don't know whose fault it is, but Austin Theory's meant to be out there to catch the skinnier one of the Street Profits.
Yeah, I have seen that.
And then runs out the way and he lands on his back. I'm like, oh, dearie me. Thank goodness that happened after WrestleMania. Oh, no,
that was like a full-on 10-foot just slap on the floor, wasn't it? It looked pretty bad. It's like somebody they've made like a gif of it already, like day 19 of isolation has got me like this into the floor. Moving on to what could be then again another candidate for match of the entire weekend if they're given the time and skip out on the interference. The Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn going in as Intercontinental Champion after scratching his way to the title against Braun Strowman, which nobody predicted from us guys at the last prediction, versus the Planet's Champion, Daniel Bryan. Matt, Matt's kind of grinning and shaking his head. Go on, Matt, you can go first.
It's just the planet's champion. Yeah,
I can't resist because every time it stops me from saying hippie. So planet's champion it is.
Screw you, hippie.
I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn with this one. I think he hasn't had it for very long, and hopefully they've seemed to have found a route to take him at the moment. As opposed to where he was just a retread every time. Oh, what a surprise! Sami Zayn's wrestling Kevin Owens because they've had shit-up matches in Ring of Honor, then they had shit-up matches in NXT. So what should we? Surprise, surprise! That's what they're doing in NXT at the moment. Oh, what's happening? Johnny Gargano's wrestling Tommaso Ciampa again because okay. So at last he's broken away from that Kevin Owens side of things and kind of has this kind of the group of people that have kind of been miscast through the past few years in the WWE. So hopefully he'll keep the championship and for now on. So yeah, Sami Zayn for me.
Okay, let's go you down for that. Paul?
Yeah, I'm same as Matt on this one. I like to think that they've kept Sami out of the ring for a long enough time to sort of build this character up. Now they've built the character up, give him the legs, give him a chance to sort of progress with it, show what he can do with it. Obviously give him matches against people that are going to get the best out of him, like Daniel Bryan. Hopefully he'll keep it for a long time.
Cool. Andy?
Normally, I'd be like Daniel Bryan with this one, but it's too soon for a title change. So, stick me down for Sami.
Never too soon for a title change in Vince McMahon's eyes.
No. And, part of me is like, it's WrestleMania, that's potentially a time to do something like that. But, no, I'm not feeling it.
I'm going to play for points here. Don't necessarily disagree with anything you guys have said, but title win's a title win, right? So I'm going to pick Daniel Bryan to try and pick up a point here. In theory, Sami Zayn should win. It's weird that it's one of the rare times I think where, especially on the full card, where the champion is going in as the underdog for the match. But that's kind of always been Sami's sort of stick anyway, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
But recently, since the Gulak Daniel Bryan thing, to me that's working quite well. I've enjoyed certainly their interactions against Sami Zayn and Nakamura and Cesaro on SmackDown. That has, for me, has been my favourite part of SmackDown for the last few weeks. And Daniel Bryan is a bigger name. This is, I think, because of Sami winning it recently, he should keep it. But this is my one where I'm going to call it as sort of out of left field, even though it kind of isn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm picking Daniel Bryan, so that makes me slightly different on that one. So we've got 3 title matches to go, 2 women's titles, and the WWE title.
The big boy belt.
The big boy belt. So we'll start with, for the first time ever, we need to get that in because it's the NXT women's title has been defended on WrestleMania. So this year's Royal Rumble winner, Charlotte Flair, versus current NXT Women's Champion, the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley. Anybody want to lead off with this one?
This could be my sneaky pick for match of the weekend. It's got all the tools for, if they give them the time, so if they give them 20 to 30 minutes and just say, go out there, tear it up, do whatever you want, obviously play to the crowd. Oh, wait a minute. But yeah, they're both very good workers. They've got the talent and the skill set to basically put together a really good match. I know what I'd like to see, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't see them taking Flair off the Smack. She's on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see her taking him off. I can't see him taking her off the Raw loop because she's guaranteeing ratings. She's guaranteeing ticket sales for house shows. Blah blah blah. I know it don't matter at the minute, but I don't know. I think she will win the match, but I can't see her moving to NXT full time.
Okay.
So I don't know what to say there.
So, are you going to pull one of your infamous DQ victories, or?
Do they ever do that at Mania? They tend to not have like a lot of like screwy finishes at WrestleMania.
Well, just saying WrestleMania 17 right now, but you know.
What do you mean?
Well, everyone's favourite, well, now DC hero / villain got smashed with a chair, didn't he? It was the screwy finish with the Boston Rock thing. Just saying.
Well,
So, are you going for Charlotte?
yeah, but what a fucking massive win it would be if they have Ripley win it. That's a fucking big statement. It makes her like the next big star that can push into that.
Yeah, I think without jumping too far, I'm just going to go straight into mine. I'm locking you down. You put in Charlotte, right?
Yeah,
Right.
don't like it though.
How far behind your back with your arm twisted there?
It's a bit like me picking the Street Profits earlier. You know it's probably going to happen, but it doesn't leave a good taste, does it? Like, I'm picking
No,
Rhea.
exactly.
I'm picking Rhea. I think that she is that injection that the women's division needs. And it's a bit of a strange way of doing it because she'll win, keep the title, but she's then on NXT. But if you, like, the women's division on Raw and SmackDown is probably the thinnest it's been since like the women's evolution right now. Because
Which is mental when you consider the amount of talent we've got.
yeah, but their biggest women's division right now is probably NXT, which is why they don't need Charlotte Flair to have that title.
Yeah.
I think that one you're saying about the ratings and stuff like that. The one reason that they would have to have Charlotte win is that it would help in the Wednesday Night War and the big fight against AEW. But
Yeah.
I can't see Charlotte Flair's inclusion drawing 250,000 extra viewers onto NXT.
It's not made a difference, has it? It's gone down, in fact, since she's been on there.
I can't see her winning that title, but I also, like you say, I think it makes Rhea a big star, ready for when they do like have a switch around and she does come to Raw and SmackDown. She will be a future focal point for one of the two main shows. So I'm picking Rhea Ripley. Andy?
You don't like it.
See, it is one of them. It's like, it's a bit of a between a rock and a hard place sort of situation. I was fully expecting.
He's not in this match, Andy.
I was fully expecting a Paul Williams win by disqualification on this one, and then I was gonna back him and be like, for once I agree. I actually think there's going to be some kind of disqualification, some kind of loophole so that they can get around it. Charlotte.
You're going for Charlotte as well. Wow. Okay.
There'll be something. They'll work something in, something that works to their advantage. But I'm saying Charlotte.
Okay. That's down. So, is it going to be 3-1 in favour of Charlotte Flair, or is Matt going to balance out the predictions?
I'm going to balance it out. I think it's Rhea Ripley. I think there'll be something. She'll keep hold of it, but they'll make her look good. she'll probably drop the title to Toni Storm or someone like that in NXT, and then it'll be in the on the main roster when we all come back after Corona break. I think that'll be the thing.
Very briefly, while we're touching on the NXT Women's Division, how much fun is Shotzi Blackheart's entrance? Have you guys seen it? Please tell me you've seen it.
Seen it.
Oh man, you need to
Just
look
Google
at
it.
So remember, like when you were a kid, and you would have like a tiny, like scaled down tractor with pedals that you could sit on and like go like hell on it, and it didn't matter if that was your tractor, that was your thing. It's kind of the same, except for it's a tiny tank, and it's actually cool. I'm pretty sure it works as well, so that could be quite fun. But yeah, she's good as well. I quite like the whole thing. But it's a fun entrance, and remember WrestleMania a few years ago with Russo's entrance? It's like that, but when it's been through the tumble dry.
Excellent.
Worth a look for sure. So we'll move on to the next women's title match, which is the Raw Women's title. So this is the one that's kind of been nailed on, and there's been kind of a clear path since before the Royal Rumble, I would say. I'd probably going back to like Survivor Series even now, kind of around that time. So the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber match, Shayna Baszler, takes on Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. Will Becky Lynch essentially retain or win that title 2 years in a row at WrestleMania? Everybody's looking kind of like that's a no. Is that the consensus?
Who haven't we seen? Who haven't we seen since last year's WrestleMania?
Oh, you mean possibly
Shane McMahon.
her mate?
He's not there. What? Hang on a minute. I was in WrestleMania without Shane McMahon.
No, it's not. It's not going to be Shane McMahon. You're wrong. It's that the world famous cage fighter, right? The Miz's dad.
He's not going to jump off shit. Oh no, they're in the performance centre. There's nothing high to jump off.
Just jump off the top of the building. I think what Paul's getting to is you alluding to a possible return. Yeah.
I think it's going to be the kind of the fake 4 horsewomen thing that they were trying to push with. Obviously, because she's got 2 other people that don't seem to ever wrestle, but get involved in everything as well.
Yeah.
What the fuck are they doing? That drives me insane every time they turn up on NXT. I'm like, what do? You don't do anything.
So is that a straight up Shayna Baszler prediction there for Matt?
Yeah, it's boring. Yeah. And I hate it. She's terrible.
She's not terrible, but it's not been done quite as well as I would have hoped. But
I don't like her. I don't find her interesting or engaging or kind of thing. I don't find her matches any interesting either. It's a bit. I don't see where they're going to go with. Is she going to be this all conquering kind of thing? Because that's what they're going to build her as. Because that's what she was in NXT. Or they're just going to bury her like they buried Oscar, and then you're going to start building her back up again.
Ultimately, somewhere down the line, it's got to come to Baszler Rousey at some point.
Yeah.
Because that is money left on the table if they don't do like essentially cage fighter versus cage fighter.
Absolutely agree.
So yeah, I can't disagree with anything Matt said, other than the fact that she's terrible, because she's not terrible. She's just still learning. I think she's one of them where she's a victim of, I'd say, previous success, but in the sense of she was kind of a half-known name before she even started. So she
I think it's the package that I don't. I think it's just the whole kind of thing. It's going to be what they do with Gron, because they're going to want to get their money's worth while people still give a shit about him. So it'll be pushed, like I think I said to you guys the other day. He'll have the tag title before the end of the year with Mojo, and we'll all be pissed off about it. But we knew it was coming because Vince is full chub for footballers, and now he's got a famous one that his desk will be lifting.
But will he actually try and keep drafting him into the raw, like the wrestling stuff, or will he try and slide him off into the XFL?
Yeah, Rob, go and do 2 weeks at the XFL.
He'll turn up as the one of the franchises will get an anonymous GM with a laptop, and it'll end up being Gruff.
The Houston Rough Riders, or the Apple Dragon, or something like that. I can't keep there.
The Rough Riders sounds like some sort of dodgy weekend away. But yeah, anyway. Remember when that was a thing? Right, okay, Andy, Baszler or Lynch?
Baszler.
Okay. Paul?
But I agree with Paul that there's a potential return on the cards there.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one. I think had it have been in Raymond James Stadium as it was supposed to be, and there not been any travel bans or anything like that, I'd have fully agreed with that. I still think it could happen, but I just think it's a little bit less likely. It's going to happen somewhere, but maybe just not yet because of the restrictions, but it will happen at some point. So, gents, that brings us to the final match in the 63.5-hour card that we've got ahead of us. The winner of this year's Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre, versus the Beast Incarnate and current WWE champion, Brock Lesnar. Will it be that thing that we've talked about between ourselves for a few weeks now, where it's Claymore kick, Claymore kick, Claymore kick, McIntyre raises the WWE title to the roar of the air conditioning? I think it was Matt that said that through.
Piped in sounds as someone proposed. How fucking stupid do you think we are? If there's like, noise, like, no, seriously.
Well, like, they're missing a trick by not having the wrestlers in the crowd, like the guys.
I mean, how hard is it? Just put anyone that's not on the card in the fucking arena. Just dot them around. It'll make some sort of atmosphere. It's not hard.
Dot them around, 2 meters apart, obviously. Safety first, yeah.
AEW went one step further this week. They had caricatures of people. So they had like 3 caricatures, all 2 meters apart. It's brilliant. I think they've done a really good job with it. It's been really quite funny kind of thing. But yeah, it's
Like, I feel really sorry for Drew McIntyre now, and like, I mean, I did beforehand anyway, because let's face it, 3MB. But like, it's one of them where like he has genuinely worked his backside off to get to where he is. Gets given the biggest win of his career. He was absolutely like interview after the Rumble, and he was like, anytime there was a picture of the WrestleMania sign, he was straight away like kind of really playing up to it. And like, if there's like an urban dictionary for phrases, like this situation has got to be like right up there with the pissed on his parade bit, because it's just awful. Like, I just feel really bad for him, and like part of me wants Lesnar to win now, to bank this one for another time, because McIntyre's developed such a much stronger character off the back of winning the Rumble, and people like he's come across as likeable. They've let him have a bit more time, and I think people would stick behind him if he lost, as long as they do a Braun Strowman with him. As long as they keep that momentum going and not absolutely just kill it flat by then like making him lose to somebody like maybe only had 2 or 3 matches. Like, I want him to keep this. I don't want him to ruin. He might not get a WrestleMania moment out of it, put it that way, but he'll get a SummerSlam one, I think.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm picking Lesnar. I think Lesnar will win.
Yeah, I'm going to say, but I'm picking Lesnar just because of how strong they've had McIntyre look in the last couple of weeks. So all the stuff where he gave him the 3 claymores at Raw and then stuff like that, and it's just it's that classic situation where they're building up the challenger to look so good against the champion, and then they'll just have the anticlimax of but it's not Lesnar, so he can't be.
So that's two votes for Broccoli Rob so far. Is Andy going to make it 3?
No, look at him. He loves him. Loves a bit of Lesnar.
I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it until something changes. There's very rarely going to be a time that I'm going to go against Broccoli Rob. It's just the way it is. The man is the epitome of wrestling. Brock Lesnar.
I've put it down on the page. I'm going to note extra points maybe for is anybody predicting that he might try and pull out a shooting star press at this year's WrestleMania. I know it's been a while. I know that joke has been flogged before, but I've recently rewatched that match, and it still makes me cringe now. It was awful. All right, final pick of the night then, Mr. Moore.
I'm going to go Drew McIntyre.
Was that Drew McIntyre?
Shut up.
He's a mark for Drew. That's all.
Obviously, I'd seen him a couple of times on the Indies before, like just before he went to NXT, and he was head and shoulders above like guys who are in like NXT now and stuff like that. You know, seemed very Mark Andrews, motherfucker. So,
that's the real reason you like him.
But I think they got it right. They got it right with him, and you could probably like. If there was going to be crowds at Raw, or if there was going to be crowds at wherever he goes to next, then he could do the whole I couldn't get it done and the apologetic face and all that kind of thing. You can't say that to nobody, or he just looked like a pussy kind of thing. It's kind of not for want of a better phrase, and it's just going to kind of fall flat. So I think they've got to if he wins and then he carries it through to SummerSlam and he has a moment beating. A Corbin or someone like that, like someone that everybody hates, like and kind of have that kind of moment at SummerSlam. Hopefully, I just, it seems a shame to waste a build that they've had on him to just say, oh well, you weren't going to get your WrestleMania moment. Well, you kind of get a half of one because you win a title at WrestleMania, and maybe 10 years time we'll go, oh, was that the one where they recorded it in front of nobody? Yeah. 20 years. No one will think about that.
Yeah, so this is the problem. Like everyone's saying this. Oh yeah, you'll get your WrestleMania win, but I mean, this. Let's be honest. This is WrestleMania and everything. It's in name only. This is just like an NXT table, basically.
I don't know. There's people at NXT, so. It's not WrestleMania. It's a pointless exercise, but I think it's one of them things where they've done the build, and what were they going to do? Because you could say, all right, well, we'll push it back a month. But I said, like you said before, people have organised honeymoons and stuff like that. Well, at least they haven't said, oh, we'll push it back a month. Because then, if those people said, well, you pushed it back a month, well then, your insurance perhaps won't cover you for that kind of thing, or you won't be able to afford to go to WrestleMania if you've got 90% of your money back from this WrestleMania, then you can perhaps go to another WrestleMania. I know it's not what you wanted, but at least you might be able to go one day, as opposed to going, well, actually, we'll push it back a month, or we'll push it kind of, because they're always going to have WrestleMania. There's no way that it's not going to be like, they could have first time ever cancelled WrestleMania. But they're not going to do that. It's going to be, we're going to have WrestleMania and we're going to have it no matter what.
It's just quite a strange time, like all around as well, like with all of this, and for if they have got enough film, great. If they haven't, and Raw goes off the air, it's not like a live, or not even like a taped version of Raw. It's going to be that heartbreaking thing for them as well. They like to announce it like the longest running weekly episodic television show in history. I haven't written that down. That's just drilled into me week on week by the announce team there. But like, it genuinely will be a weird thing where it'll be a week without a new episode, which they've not done in over 25 years.
But I mean, if it gets to that point, don't even think that they won't do something where they cobble together a clip show and have Cole or Triple H or anybody in the office in Stanford, and they'll just basically film a couple of like little vignettes, finish them in the middle of all the clips that they're going to put in from previous Raws. They'll still class it as a new one, and they'll keep doing that each week until it gets to the point where they can start taping stuff again. They won't let it die.
This week's Raw was you had Becky Lynch came out, did a little bit of a promo, then they proceeded to show her match against Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. And I'm like, well, I'll fast forward through this because I've seen this before. And then Brock Lesnar came out and they showed Brock against Rey Mysterio from SummerSlam. And I'm like, I've seen this before. So, so I was like, I'll fast forward through that as well because I've seen that. So they'll piece things together, but they'll find somewhere. Find somewhere to that they can do a little sly filming of something. They've worked it out.
They'll find a way around it.
Mm-hmm.
I always do.
That Becky Lynch thing from Raw this week really caught me off guard as well, because it's like, right, I'm coming out, I'm going to cut my promo, I'll mention something about a particular part in a match by name and show like a 30-second clip of it. No, just showed the full match, including
and entrances as well. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Full entrances. I'm like, all right, so really filling for time today.
3 hours is a long time to fill.
I was like, Jesus.
So we've got it. We've done all the predictions. We're all the way through WrestleMania. We will find out if Mr. Moore actually gets to retain that title and maybe get to have it at some point in person, or whether or not Andy can just keep it there instead, or who knows? Who knows right now when we'll ever see that title again in person? But just before we go as well, just wanted to give a little mention to a group who are based locally to me in Hull by the name of Wrestle Cares. They are on Facebook as Wrestle Cares, or they are on Twitter at Cares Wrestle. They are a wrestling-based charity, and they do stuff for underprivileged kids, not just in the Hull area, because they do stuff. They do competitions through their Facebook page, which they're doing every week for the next couple of weeks as well. Just your standard Facebook kind of competitions, liking and sharing, they do a bit of comment and stuff on there, but they do giveaways of like shoe boxes basically full of wrestling related stuff for just to raise awareness. And if you've got anything that you want to kind of put their way, maybe not right now whilst everything's on lockdown, but if you've got a bit of merch or memorabilia or anything that you're not really keen on keeping and you don't really want around anymore, it might be worth giving them a shout, because they might be able to make somebody's day by donating it that way. But yeah, give them a look. Wrestle Cares. But yeah, other than that, I am all done. I've got plenty of beers stockpiled, ready for the weekend's festivities. Enjoy WrestleMania for as much as you can. It'll be a bit of a different one, and hopefully you've stuck with us through the podcast in a different format. And thanks very much for Andy for sorting all this out for us as usual. All right. Anybody else got anything?
No.
Nothing from me.
Enjoy the show that's called WrestleMania, but is anything but
Gronkmania.
Oh god. It'll make you want to take a Gronk.
Oh!
I don't think there's a better way to finish, Paul. Alright, thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, yeah.
Cheers. There you go. What do you think of that? Second part done, and that's that for WrestleMania for this year. All's left to do is watch it, see who wins the predictions, see who wins all the matches. Who have you got in your predictions? Why don't you jump over to CookieCast, send us those predictions, and we'll add them to ours and see how well you do. Maybe you could win the belt. if you're watching us on YouTube, why don't you tell a friend to do the same? Make sure you're subscribing. If you're not watching us on YouTube, then jump over there, subscribe and share. So yeah, there we go. 2 parts done, and still as good as always. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.